Are you replaying today like a broken record, what you should have said, what you wish you hadn't done? What if tonight isn't for fixing but for freeing? What if God isn't asking you to make it right, but to rest in what's already being made right by His mercy? What if grace is already moving toward you? Stay. Let grace be the last voice you hear. You don't need to fall asleep rehearsing your failures again. You don't have to relive every regret as if it defines you. Psalm 91 says you will find refuge under His wings, not just from outward danger, but from the torment of your own thoughts. Psalm 23 says He restores your soul, not just when you succeed, but when you feel empty, ashamed, or unsure. You are not defined by how perfectly you lived today. You are defined by whose arms you fall asleep in. And tonight those arms are wide open. God's message isn't fix it, it's come to me. You don't need to prove yourself, you only need to bring yourself. Bring your broken pieces, your unspoken guilt, your aching soul, and be received. You're not the only one lying awake asking, why do I keep failing again and again? You're not weak for wondering that. You're human. And God blesses honesty more than performance. Dr. Anita Phillips reminds us, sometimes your greatest strength is admitting what still hurts. God isn't surprised by your struggle. He's moved by your surrender. Shame tells you to isolate. Mercy says, open your heart. Guilt says you're stuck in your past. But Isaiah 43 says, forget the former things. I am doing a new thing. You don't have to fix the old. You're invited into the new. Let go. The voice of the accuser will try to trap you in what you did wrong until it becomes who you believe you are. But you are not your worst moment. You are not your loudest regret. Pope Leo XIV wrote, mercy is not earned. It is received where brokenness is most honest. So tonight, be honest. Don't fight sleep trying to be perfect. Rest by being real. I know it's hard. Some nights feel like a courtroom, where your mind replays every moment that could have gone differently. A sharp word, a silence that hurt, a goal unmet. But God never asked you for perfection. He asks for presence. Lisa Bevere reminds us God's correction is never rejection, it's redirection. Let Him redirect your thoughts tonight. Let this night prayer be a release, not a report card. You are not sentenced to endless self-judgment. You're invited into refuge. Psalm 91 is not just a passage, it's a place, a shelter, a spiritual sanctuary for souls like yours, sleepless, anxious, and aching. Let bedtime prayer be a conversation, a sigh toward the arms of God, a sacred exhale of shame into peace. So as this day ends, let God's mercy have the final word. Not your anxiety, not your mistakes, not your self-judgment. Romans 8:28 doesn't say all things were perfect. It says all things work together for good, even this day, even the messy parts, even the chapters you wish you could rewrite. Psalm 23:3 says, He restores my soul. And that restoration doesn't require performance, just pause, just permission, just presence. You are not too far gone. You are not too flawed. You are right on time for mercy. God's message tonight is not condemnation. It is invitation. Come, sleep, heal, be held. Take a deep breath right here. Inhale grace, exhale judgment. Inhale peace, exhale the need to prove. Let night prayer become the place where regret is replaced by release. Let this moment be your soul's return to still water. You are not alone. You are not abandoned. You are being gently led into rest. Before you close your eyes, ask your heart, what guilt am I still carrying that God already forgave? What version of perfection is stealing my peace? What would mercy look like if I truly believed it was for me? These are not questions of failure. They are questions of freedom. Let tonight be the night your soul stops performing and starts healing. Let your final thoughts not be about what you missed, but about the one who never misses you. This is your moment of release, a sacred silence where God speaks louder than shame, a whispered reminder that His mercies are new every morning, even now. His presence doesn't just greet you in victory, it holds you in vulnerability. As you lay down, know this: you are covered under His wings, you are being restored by His Spirit, and you are not too late for grace. In this place, night isn't the end. It's the doorway to renewal. Speak this over your soul tonight: I am not my worst moment. I am covered under God's wings. I am restored by His mercy. I am being led into rest. I am not alone. I am safe. I am home. If this prayer touched a deep place in your heart, consider sharing it with someone who may be hurting in silence tonight. Let God's message become our community's message. Subscribe for more nightly moments of truth, healing, and hope. And as you close your eyes, remember, mercy is not a theory, it's your covering. Grace is not an idea, it's your invitation. You don't have to fix everything tonight. You just need to be here. Be honest. Be still. Be held. Now exhale. Let go of the weight. You are forgiven. You are loved. And you are being led beside still waters. Sleep in peace. Tomorrow is already held in His hands. Some nights you lie down, but your heart refuses to follow. Your body may be still, but your mind is still chasing the echoes of words you regret, of silence you wish you'd filled. Guilt turns ordinary memories into sharp thorns. You whisper, "I should have done better," as if punishing yourself could somehow rewrite what's already over. But God never asked you to relive what He already forgave. Psalm 91:4 says, "Under His wings you will find refuge. His faithfulness is your shield." Not your perfection, not your productivity, His faithfulness. Shame tries to shout louder than grace, but grace is not a whisper, it's a flood. Tonight, let that flood wash over you. Let the past lose its grip. Let the striving finally stop. This night prayer is not a task to complete, it's a place to receive. You are not here to explain yourself to God. You are here to be embraced by Him. You are safe. You are seen. You are already loved. You may be asking, how can I let go if I still feel it? Dr. Anita Phillips reminds us that healing doesn't begin with forgetting. It begins with honesty. God doesn't bypass your emotions. He meets you in them. Psalm 23 is not a celebration of strength. It's a confession of surrender. He restores my soul, not because we held it together, but because we handed it over. Restoration does not come through control. It comes through trust, through surrender. Stop demanding perfection from yourself in order to rest. That's not spiritual discipline. It's self-torment. Let tonight be the night your inner war ends. Pope Leo XIV once said, "God does not wait until we are clean to come near. He comes near and cleanses." So invite Him into the messy parts, the questions that still ache, the apologies unsaid, the habits still unbroken. God's message tonight is not "be better." It's "be still, I am with you. You are not alone in the dark. You are being carried in light." There is a quiet voice that whispers in your exhaustion, "You should have known better." But that voice is not from God. It's the residue of perfectionism, pretending to be conviction. But conviction leads to freedom. Condemnation locks the soul in shame. God's voice is gentler. In Isaiah 43, He says, "Forget the former things. I am doing a new thing." You cannot grasp the new while holding on to it. Release it, not because you stopped caring, but because holding on is breaking you. T.D. Jakes said, "You cannot heal in the same mindset that broke you." So let this night prayer become your shift. Let your bed become an altar. Let your breath become your surrender. Inhale grace, exhale guilt. You don't have to replay your day like a punishment reel. Let this moment lead you back to God's presence. Tonight is not about resolution. It's about rest. Not about fixing. About falling. Not into despair, but into divine arms. Maybe today wasn't your best. Maybe you missed the mark. That doesn't disqualify you from peace. It makes you a candidate for mercy. Psalm 91 wasn't written for perfect people. It was written for the tired, the anxious, the ashamed, the ones in need of shelter. And you, beloved, are in need of shelter tonight. That's not weakness, that's wisdom. To stop striving, to stop justifying, to stop rehearsing failure until it feels like identity. God is not holding your sin against you. Why are you? Let the bedtime prayer speak what your heart forgot. You are not alone. You are not hopeless. You are not finished. Romans 8:28 is still true. All things, even this day, will work together for your good. Let that truth cradle your soul. Not because the day was perfect, but because grace is. Let that be your meditation. Let that be your lullaby. Let that be your healing. Sleep now. God is still here, still faithful, still holding you. Before you close your eyes, ask your soul with kindness, what lie am I still believing that God has already replaced with truth? What standard am I holding myself to that God never set? What would it feel like to actually trust that His mercy is for me tonight? This is the holy work of release, not through effort, but through presence. Your peace is not found in being flawless, but in being found by the one who is faithful. Psalm 23 says, "He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters." That leading doesn't stop when you've failed. It becomes most tender when you have. So let God lead you tonight, out of regret and into rest, out of shame and into shelter. You don't have to be the strongest person in the room anymore. You just need to be honest enough to be held. Speak this over your spirit. I am not my worst moment. I am not beyond restoration. I am not left behind. I am covered under God's wings. I am being restored by His love. I am being led into rest. Let night prayer become more than words. It is a return to grace, a return to truth, a return to the one who never left. If this night prayer has quieted something in you, consider sharing it with someone who needs that stillness too. We are a people of second chances, not perfect days. A community carried not by achievement, but by mercy. Subscribe for more nightly reflections of healing and hope. And tonight, as you close your eyes, remember this. You are not falling apart. You are falling into the arms of God. Sleep deeply. Sleep freely. Sleep forgiven. There's a kind of tired that no nap can fix. The weariness that comes from constantly carrying what you cannot change. The conversations you wish went differently. The reaction you regret. The silence you maintained when you should have spoken grace. It loops in your mind like a soundtrack of shame. And it's exhausting. But God never called you to be your own judge. He called you to be His child, and children are not perfect, they are protected. Psalm 91 reminds you that you dwell in the shelter of the Most High, not because you earned it, because He invited you. Pope Leo XIV once said, "The mercy of God runs faster than the consequences of man." While you've been running from regret, mercy has been chasing you. Let it catch you tonight. Let it wrap around you. Let it hush the courtroom of your mind. What if the punishment you think you deserve has already been nailed to a cross? You are not here to pay for what's already been forgiven. Sometimes we think we have to feel horrible to prove we've repented, but God never asked you to punish yourself. Lisa Bevere says there is a difference between conviction and condemnation. One draws you closer, the other drives you away. Let tonight draw you close. Let your sleeplessness become a sacred space, not for punishment, but for presence. God's message tonight is not a lecture, it's a lullaby. He knows how hard you're trying. He knows the weight you carry, and He wants to carry you. Psalm 23 doesn't say you walk alone through the valley. It says He walks with you, and not only that, He prepares a table for you in the presence of your enemies, including the enemy of shame, the enemy of regret. You have a place at God's table even when you've stumbled. Especially then. Your night prayer is not your performance, it's your permission to stop striving and start receiving. This moment is drenched in mercy. Let it in. You don't have to wait for morning to start over. You don't need a new day. You need a new decision. to believe you are loved, even now, even after, even though. Psalm 91 says his faithfulness is your shield, not your consistency, not your reputation, his faithfulness. That's what guards you tonight. And that's why you can sleep, because while your mind replays the worst, God is singing over you the best. You are mine, you are forgiven, you are held. This is not wishful thinking, it's the word, it's the promise. Isaiah 41:10 says, "Do not fear, for I am with you." That includes the fear of failing again, the fear of not being enough, the fear that this is just who you are now, broken, bruised, too far gone. But God restores what shame has tried to define. God reclaims what guilt has tried to bury. God resurrects what you thought was lost forever, and He begins tonight. In this breath, in this prayer, in this letting go. If you close your eyes tonight still trying to fix what already happened, you'll miss the miracle of what God is doing now. You are not required to carry guilt into your dreams. You are allowed to rest without resolution, because rest itself is an act of faith. It's saying, I believe God is still working, even while I sleep. Romans 8:28 isn't on pause because you had a bad day. It's still in effect. All things are still being woven into good. T.D. Jakes reminds us, you don't have to know how God is going to do it. You just have to trust that He will. So tonight, trust Him. With your failure, with your weakness, with the ache you haven't admitted. Night prayer isn't the end of your spiritual day. It's the beginning of your healing. Your spirit doesn't need perfection. It needs presence. Let that be your prayer. Let that be your peace. God is with you. And that changes everything. Even now, even here, even you. Close your eyes and ask gently, what weight am I still carrying that God already laid down? What fear is whispering louder than faith? What does it mean to believe that I am forgiven, not just in theory but in truth? This is your moment to stop rehearsing and start releasing. Your moment to let silence become sacred instead of shameful. The shelter of Psalm 91 isn't a reward for the perfect, it's a refuge for the worn. Let your tired thoughts find rest in His promise. I am with you. He's not waiting on the other side of your breakthrough. He's right here in the middle of your mess, not disappointed, present, not ashamed, compassionate. He knows the story behind every ache, the reason behind every regret, and still, He says, come to me. No explanations, no proof, just presence. Let this night be your invitation to begin again, not with willpower but with worship. Speak this quietly over your soul. I am not what I did today. I am not what I failed to say. I am not what I couldn't fix. I am the one God loves. I am the one He forgives. I am the one He holds close. His mercy is my pillow. His peace is my covering. His presence is my refuge. I release the courtroom in my mind. I surrender the inner critic. I rest not because everything is resolved, but because I am being restored. If this night prayer has reached you, share it with someone carrying invisible battles. Let this be more than a message. Let it become our movement, a community breathing together beneath the wings of God. Subscribe for more whispers of healing and hope. And tonight, remember this: you are not lost in your pain. You are being found in His presence. Sleep deeply, sleep freely, sleep forgiven. There's something sacred about this moment. The quiet, the stillness, the space between regret and release. It's here in the hush of your soul that God's message finds you. You are not beyond grace, not even close. Psalm 23:3 says, He restores my soul. That word, restore, doesn't mean revise or repair. It means to bring back to the original place of peace. You were not created to carry the weight of shame. You were made to walk in freedom. And yet so many nights feel like a courtroom where your own thoughts are the prosecutor. You rehearse the evidence of your mistakes, forgetting that the judge is also your Father, and he is not condemning you. He's inviting you into his mercy, into his love, into sleep without torment. Pope Leo XIV wrote, "The soul most tormented by guilt is the soul most ready for grace." You are not being disqualified by your emotions. You are being readied. You're closer to healing than you think. Meditation tonight isn't about emptying your mind. It's about filling your spirit with truth. And here's the truth. You are not what you failed to do. You are not the worst version of your past. You are the beloved of God, invited into refuge, not when you're better, but right now. Psalm 91 speaks not to perfect saints, but to weary warriors. Those who fought hard but still feel like they've lost. If that's you, hear this. You haven't lost. You've been led, even through the valley, even through the disappointment, even through the silence. God has not left you, and tonight, he's drawing near. Lisa Bevere says God is not waiting for a better version of you to show up. He loves the version that showed up tired, tear-streaked, and unsure. That version is welcome here. That version is held. That version can rest. Because night prayer isn't a place of judgment. It's a place of mercy in motion. If you could see how God sees you, you would never speak shame over yourself again. He sees the struggle behind your silence, the intention behind your imperfection, the longing behind your apology, and he does not shame you for it. He shields you in it. That's the promise of Psalm 91. It doesn't say there won't be terror or arrows. It says you'll be covered, even when they come. God doesn't always change the outcome, but he always changes the impact. You may have fallen today, but you fell into grace. And grace is not fragile. It doesn't shatter when you stumble. T.D. Jakes says, "Grace is not permission to stay down. It's power to rise." So rise in your spirit. Rise in your rest. Rise in the truth that you are still wanted, still chosen, still safe. This is not a night of pretending. This is a night of presence. Let that be enough. Let that be everything. There is power in confessing, not to punish yourself, but to breathe again. When you say, "God, I messed up," you're not inviting wrath. You're inviting restoration. Psalm 23 doesn't say he leads you once you've repented enough. It says he leads you beside still waters because that's who he is, not because of what you did, but because of what he's like. He is a restorer, a healer, a comforter. That's what this night is about, not earning a clean slate, but receiving one. Not because you're innocent, because he is good. Isaiah 41:10 promises, "Do not fear, for I am with you." That includes fear of your own flaws, fear of not measuring up, fear of not being truly free. But freedom is not a future event, it's a present invitation, and this bedtime prayer is your open door. Walk into peace, speak your truth, and then listen, because God is speaking back. He's not angry, he's not silent, he's saying, "You're forgiven, now rest." Let this night be more than a moment. It can be a turning point. In the silence, something shifts. The lies lose their grip. The voices grow still, and all that remains is God's voice, steady and sure. You are mine. You are loved. You are safe. If you've been trying to earn peace, tonight is your reminder that peace isn't earned, it's given, and it's yours. Not because you got everything right, but because Jesus did. Let your breath slow, let your muscles soften, let your soul unclench. You are in the presence of a Father who restores, not rejects, who draws near, not away. This isn't a performance, this is a homecoming. If you've never let yourself believe that you are truly, deeply, eternally forgiven, start now. Not by doing more, but by receiving what's already done. The cross already said what you don't have. It is finished, and in that you can finally rest. Whisper this over your heart. I am not beyond grace. I am not my past. I am not the voice of shame. I am restored by love. I am covered by mercy. I am being led beside still waters. My failures are not my identity. My emotions are not my enemy. My God is not against me. He is with me. I will not rehearse what God has already redeemed. I will not fear rest. I will not reject peace. I choose surrender. I choose trust. I choose to sleep not in fear but in faith. If this prayer has created space for truth in you, send it to someone still battling shame in silence. We heal better together. We rest better when reminded we're not alone. Subscribe for more moments of mercy and truth each night. And tonight, remember, you are not too far. You are not too late. You are not too much. You are exactly where grace begins. Sleep well. You are safe. You are home. You're not the only one who lays awake wishing you could undo the day. We all have moments we wish we could rewind, words we regret, silences we regret even more, reactions that left bruises in our hearts or others. But God doesn't call you to undo. He calls you to release. Psalm 91 says, "He will cover you with his feathers, and under his wings you will find refuge." That's not just poetic language. It's a prophetic invitation. You don't have to clean yourself up to be safe. You only have to come close. The ache you feel right now isn't a disqualification. It's an invitation. God sees what you can't explain, the lingering shame, the recurring guilt. And still he says, "Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." That's not a suggestion, it's a promise. You don't have to rehearse your flaws tonight. You can release them gently into the hands that hold you. Pope Leo XII said, "Mercy is not fragile. It meets us where shame feels permanent and turns it into peace." If that's what your soul needs tonight, you are not alone. God is not waiting for your explanations. He's offering your restoration. Romans 8:28 is still alive over your life, still weaving beauty from brokenness, even the parts you haven't spoken aloud yet. That's the essence of night prayer, not to punish yourself for the past, but to rest in the presence of the one who makes all things right. Lisa Bevere reminds us God isn't afraid of your story. He wants to sit in it with you. Let him sit with you now, not as a judge, but as a father, a healer, the only one who truly understands what your spirit is craving. Let this night prayer quiet the critic in your mind. Let it move you from self-condemnation into sacred surrender. You are not beyond mercy. You're breathing in the middle of it. Psalm 23:3 says, "He restores my soul." Not just your day, not just your reputation, your soul, the most bruised, most silent, most hidden part of you. That's where his restoration begins, not by fixing outcomes, but by transforming beliefs. Maybe tonight, that transformation begins with how you see yourself. You are not unworthy, not too far gone, not forgotten. You are the one he leaves the 99 to pursue. You are the one he sings over with joy, the one he welcomes not with reprimand but with robes and rejoicing. T.D. Jakes said, "Shame whispers your sin, grace shouts your name." Tonight, stop listening to shame. Answer grace. You are still being called, still being cherished, still being held. Not because of how you performed today, but because of his promise, and his promise is peace. Peace, even in chaos. Peace, even after failure. Peace, because his presence hasn't left you. Not for a second. Let these questions soften your spirit into surrender. What burden are you still carrying that God already lifted? Who are you apart from the moment you keep replaying? How would you speak to yourself if you believed God loved you exactly as you are? Now, whisper this truth aloud. I am covered in mercy. I am restored in God's presence. I am not my shame. I am his beloved. If this night prayer has touched your heart, share it with someone else who's struggling in silence. Let this be more than just words. Let it be the start of a community where bedtime becomes sacred, where guilt turns into grace, where sleep becomes more than escape, it becomes healing. Tonight, the voice of shame is silenced. The presence of love surrounds you. You are not stuck in yesterday. You are being led into peace, into rest, into freedom. Right now, right here, in the arms of a God who never stopped calling your name. You don't have to wait for morning to begin again. You don't need a new day to receive new mercy. That mercy is already here, already flowing, already enough. You've been trying to earn peace, but peace is not earned, it's received. It's the inheritance of every soul God calls his own, and that includes you. So exhale the lies, let go of the weight. God is not disappointed in your weakness. He's drawn to it. That's why he came, not for the perfect, but for the weary, for the ashamed, for the ones who lie awake wondering if they still belong. You do, not because you deserve it, but because his love never depended on your deserving. It only depends on his heart, and his heart is still beating for you. Let this truth be your lullaby. You are not your last mistake. You are not beyond grace. You are not forgotten. You are seen. You are safe. You are forgiven. Speak it over yourself like a benediction. I am not here to prove. I'm here to receive. I am not here to punish myself. I'm here to be healed. I am not my guilt. I am God's, and I am held. If this prayer reached into your soul, pass it on. Let it be a light in someone else's night. Subscribe for more reflections that guide your spirit back to stillness. And tonight, as you drift into sleep, remember, this is not the end. This is the beginning of mercy. Sleep well. Grace is still holding you. There's a heaviness that comes from trying to prove your worth through your own perfection. But God never asked you to carry that weight. He already carried it to the cross. What he asks is this: come to me, all who are weary. That includes you. The one exhausted from overthinking, replaying, regretting. The one who keeps saying, why can't I get it right? What if the point is coming back to the one who makes it right? Psalm 91 isn't about being unshaken because you're strong. It's about being secure because God is your refuge. Tonight is not a performance, it's a homecoming. God doesn't measure your worth by your mistake count. He measures it by the blood already shed to redeem you. You are not disqualified. You are desired. Even in your sleeplessness, even in your shame, especially there, because that's where mercy loves to move the most. You might still be whispering, God, I don't know how to forgive myself. And he responds, I already have. That's the scandalous beauty of grace. It outruns your guilt and arrives at your door before you even ask. Pope Leo XIV said, the measure of divine love is not in the earning, but in the receiving. You don't earn mercy by feeling worse. You receive it by falling into the arms that were always open. That's what this night is for. Psalm 23 doesn't lead you through darkness to leave you there. It says, even though I walk through the valley, you are with me. Not once you feel worthy, not when you fix it, but now, as you are, in the ache, in the apology, in the hope that maybe, just maybe, you're not beyond peace. And friend, you're not. You are deeply loved in the very space you feel most unlovable. Let this bedtime prayer be your permission to rest, not because the day was perfect, but because God's love is. It's okay if you still feel the sting of your choices. That's not failure. That's your soul trying to breathe again. And God honors that honesty. Lisa Bevere says, there is no healing in hiding, there is only delay. So stop hiding. Not from others, from yourself. From God, he already sees it, and he's not turning away. He's leaning in. Isaiah 41:10 promises, do not fear, for I am with you. I will strengthen you and help you. That includes emotional strength, the courage to forgive yourself, the endurance to trust again, the softness to sleep without the shield of shame. Night prayer is where your soul lays down its weapons and receives peace instead. Meditation tonight is not about forgetting what happened. It's about remembering who's holding you through it. And it's not the voice of the accuser, it's the voice of the shepherd. You are mine. You are healed. You are here, and that is enough. Let yourself believe that. If guilt is still echoing in your mind, let truth be louder. Romans 8:28 has no expiration date. God is still using this regret, this moment, this breath. And as you lie here, let yourself ask, what if this is the night I finally believed I'm forgiven? What if this is the beginning of a new narrative, one rooted in grace, not guilt, one where bedtime is no longer a battlefield but a blessing? What if God's message tonight isn't try harder, but let me hold you? Speak this truth over yourself now. I am not stuck in my shame. I am wrapped in His mercy. I am not who I was. I am who He's restoring. I release perfection. I receive peace. Let those words settle. Let them silence every lie that told you otherwise. You're not here to earn anything. You're here to be held. You don't have to fake peace tonight. You can fall into it. You don't have to wait until the next chapter to feel loved. God is writing love into this one, and that includes your flaws, your fatigue, your fears. You are not outside the story of redemption. You are the reason it was written, so let go. Not because it's easy, because it's sacred, because the cross already carried your burden. And now, all that's left is rest. Your rest is worship. Your surrender is strength. Your honesty is holy. If this night prayer opens something inside you, don't keep it quiet. Pass it on. Let someone else exhale their shame into sacred stillness. Let the community of the weary become the choir of the healed. Subscribe for more prayers that whisper truth when the world gets too loud. And tonight, remember, grace doesn't whisper. It welcomes. Rest fully. Rest freely. You are home. You are His. You don't have to keep apologizing to God for the same thing over and over. He heard you the first time, and He forgave you the first time. What's keeping you from peace isn't God's memory. It's your struggle to receive grace. Psalm 91:4 says, His faithfulness will be your shield and rampart, not your repeated apologies, not your perfect sorrow, His faithfulness. That's what protects you tonight. You're not walking into this night uncovered by guilt. You're wrapped in mercy. Pope Leo XIV said, forgiveness is not delayed by God. It is delayed by our fear of being loved in our failure. But tonight, God is loving you right there, in the ache, in the rewind, in the silence. He's not asking for another vow. He's asking for your presence, for your heart. As it is tender, confused, worn thin, but still longing for peace, let that be your offering tonight. It's enough, more than enough. Sometimes guilt doesn't shout. It sits quietly. It looks like silence in prayer, or heavy breathing in the dark, or a tired heart that doesn't know what to say anymore. But even in that silence, God speaks. Lisa Bevere says, you don't have to have the words to receive the love. And tonight, that love is speaking over you, without pressure, without performance. Psalm 23 says, He makes me lie down in green pastures. Not because you finished your to-do list, not because you earned peace, but because He is good. He knows you need rest more than resolution. Night prayer isn't about qualifying for sleep. It's about surrendering to the truth that God's peace is stronger than your shame. His mercy is deeper than your mistake. His arms are more reliable than your resolve. Meditation isn't about clearing your mind. It's about filling it with the sound of His voice. You are forgiven. You are safe. You've spent enough nights replaying what went wrong. Let this be the night you replay what's still right. God's promises, His patience, His faithfulness. Psalm 91 is not reserved for those who have it all together. It's written for those seeking shelter, for the weary, the anxious, the ashamed. And that includes you. You are not outside its covering. Romans 8:28 hasn't expired. It still applies, even to the regrets that feel too big, the emotions that feel too loud, the secrets that feel too unworthy. T.D. Jakes says, God is not just healing what's visible, He's healing what you hide. So open that hidden space. Invite him into the quiet sigh you've held back all day, into the ache that sits still and heavy in your chest. This is where restoration begins. Not through effort, but through rest. Let God replace your inner critic with his voice. You are my child. You are home. You can exhale now. Ask yourself gently, what would it feel like to be fully loved, even in my lowest moment? What if mercy didn't need to be earned, only received? What would shift in my spirit if I believed God wants to hold me, not just fix me? Let this become your bedtime prayer. I am not held because I am flawless, but because he is faithful. I am not resting because the day was easy, but because his mercy remains. I am not rejected in my brokenness. I am wrapped in love. If this prayer has settled something in you, whisper a blessing for someone else who's hurting tonight. Let your rest become a ripple of peace. Let bedtime be holy. Let this stillness become sacred. Subscribe if your soul needs more reminders of grace like this. Share it with someone who lies awake, wondering if peace is still possible. Because it is. Peace isn't earned, it's offered, and it's yours right now. As you breathe deeper, remember this. Nothing can separate you from his love. Not guilt, not failure, not fatigue, not even the day you just lived. You are not too far from grace. You're wrapped in it. And if you're wondering whether God still wants you, the answer is in the cross, in the cradle of mercy where all weary hearts can lay down. You are not being dismissed. You're being drawn near, not because of what you bring, but because of who he is. So as you close your eyes tonight, speak this over yourself. I am not beyond forgiveness. I am not beyond healing. I am not beyond hope. I am his, and I am home. Rest now. Mercy is not a moment. It's your covering. Grace is not a guest. It's your companion. Sleep safely, freely, finally. You are loved. Fully and forever. You've been at war with your own mind long enough. The real battlefield isn't out there, it's the one within. It's the voice that keeps saying you failed again. It's the whisper that questions, why can't you get it right? But hear this, that voice is not the voice of God. It's the echo of shame, and shame has lost its claim on you. Psalm 23:3 doesn't say he restores the perfect. It says, he restores my soul. That includes your soul. Tired, tangled, tender. Restoration doesn't demand spotless perfection. It only asks for surrender. Pope Leo XIV said, restoration begins not at the altar of perfection, but at the threshold of honesty. So be honest tonight. Not cruel, not harsh, just truthful. You're weary, you're hurting, you're sorry, and that's exactly where grace begins. Not when you prove you're okay, but when you admit you're not beyond healing. You're standing at its door. Let yourself cry if the tears come, not because they prove something, but because they free something. Lisa Bevere reminds us, sometimes tears are the most honest prayer. Let the tears fall if they come. Let your soul soften. Let your breath deepen. Psalm 91 offers not just shelter from outer storms, but refuge from inner chaos. It says you will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. That's not metaphor, it's your invitation. You're being invited into a peace deeper than distraction, a rest stronger than exhaustion, a love louder than condemnation. This night prayer isn't a checklist, it's a rescue. God is reaching into your darkness not to shame you, but to comfort you. To remind you that even in the moments you want to forget, he is still working. Romans 8:28 is not just a memory verse. It's a lifeline. It's a reminder that even tonight, even now, God is not done with your story. You are not the only one lying awake replaying what went wrong. You are not the only one wondering, why do I keep messing up? The comments say it all. The silence in your chest says it too, and to every soul afraid they've run out of chances, God answers, my mercies are new every morning. That's Lamentations 3:22-23. That's not just beautiful, it's survival. You don't need a perfect past to qualify for mercy. You only need to open your heart. D.D. Jakes says, grace doesn't erase the memory, it redeems the meaning. So tonight, what if the thing you regret becomes the reminder of how far grace is willing to go? What if the ache becomes the doorway to comfort? What if sleep isn't a way to forget, but a gift to help you begin again? Receive that gift. You are not your mistake. You are not beyond peace. You are his. Before sleep takes you, pause and reflect gently. What lie have I let shape my view of worth? What if I saw myself the way God does, clothed in compassion, not failure? What would I let go of if I knew it was safe to rest? Speak this truth aloud now. I am not my failure. I am God's beloved. I am not defined by regret. I am wrapped in mercy. I do not sleep alone. I rest in the presence of the Almighty. If this night prayer has spoken to your heart, share it. There is someone else whispering in the dark, wondering if they're too far gone. Remind them they're not. Let your peace become part of their healing. Let this prayer be a light for someone else's night. Because community is where shame ends and grace begins. And as you breathe, remember, this stillness is not empty. It's sacred. You've done enough tonight. You've fought hard enough. You've tried long enough. Let this be the moment you stop striving. Let this be the beginning of surrender. You are not here to fix it all. You are here to fall into grace, and grace is ready to catch you. Every burden, every memory, every tear is known by God, and still He draws near. He whispers, "You are mine. You are safe. You are loved." So rest now. Let go of the performance. Let go of the punishment. There is nothing left to prove, only love to receive. If your soul needs this reminder again tomorrow, come back, subscribe, share, keep the circle of grace unbroken. And tonight, as you lie in the dark, let your heart say it quietly. God is here. I am safe. I am healing. This is not the sound of shame. This is the sound of peace returning. Good night, beloved. Let mercy hold you now. You've apologized 1,000 times in your mind. You've tried to rewrite the story, smooth the rough edges, erase the sharp words. But what if God isn't asking for another apology tonight, just your presence? What if He's not waiting for a better version of you to show up in prayer, but the honest one? Psalm 91 doesn't say, "He who performs well will find refuge." It says, "He who dwells." Dwelling isn't about perfection. It's about staying when your soul wants to run. It's about showing up when shame tells you to hide. Pope Leo XIV said, "God doesn't restore the strong. He strengthens the surrendered." You've tried to keep it together all day. Tonight, let yourself fall apart in the arms that already knew you would. That's not weakness. That's worship. That's trust. And that's where healing begins, with a soul willing to be seen in its mess and loved anyway. Sometimes the most radical act of faith is to stop pretending, to stop performing, to stop punishing yourself for not becoming the person you hoped to be today. Lisa Bevere says, "If we only come to God when we're at our best, we'll never come to Him at all." You don't need to impress God, you need to let Him in. Into the moment you regret, into the silence you wish you'd filled, into the words you wish you could take back. Psalm 23 doesn't offer a spiritual checklist. It offers a shepherd, a God who restores your soul, not because you earned it, but because He promised to. He restores my soul, not He fixes me when I get it right, not He scolds me into shape. He restores, He breathes, He blesses, He rebuilds, and He starts right where you stopped believing you were worth redeeming. Night has a way of echoing the voices you thought you silenced. The critic, the accuser, the looping thought that says you should have known better. But God isn't listening to those voices, and neither should you. Isaiah 43:18 says, "Forget the former things. Do not dwell on the past." That's not avoidance, it's freedom. You're not erasing the past, you're refusing to let it define you. Meditation tonight isn't about escaping. It's about guiding your thoughts into the safety of truth. And the truth is this: You are still covered. You are still loved. Romans 8:28 isn't a hopeful wish, it's a holy promise. God is still working all things together for your good. All things. Even this day. Even your silence. Even the ache. Heaven isn't confused about your worth, and neither is your Father. Let that be the voice that gently lulls your soul to sleep. As this day draws to a close, ask your soul, what part of me is still waiting for permission to rest? What if I stopped trying to earn forgiveness and simply received it? What would tomorrow look like if I believed I was already loved tonight? Speak this over your heart now. I am not defined by my worst moment. I am defined by who God says I am. I am forgiven. I am beloved. I am being made new. Psalm 91 covers me with protection. Psalm 23 leads me into rest. Grace is not a theory. It's the blanket around my soul tonight. If this prayer found you in your quiet place, let it find someone else. Share it. Pass it on. Be a witness to mercy. Let your peace become another's permission to exhale. And now, as you breathe deeper and let the stillness settle, know this: you are not alone. You are not too far gone. You are not too broken to be held. You are exactly where restoration begins, right here, in the presence of God. You are in His arms. You are under His wings. You are within His mercy. There's nothing left to prove. There's only peace to receive. So let go. You are safe. You are seen. You are His. Sleep now, not because the world is perfect, but because God's love is. Good night, beloved. Let mercy carry you home. There's a false belief that says, if I suffer enough, maybe then I'll be worthy of forgiveness. But that's not the gospel. That's guilt disguised as righteousness. God's message tonight isn't about earning back love. It's about surrendering to it. Psalm 91 says, He will cover you with His feathers, and under His wings you will find refuge. That promise isn't reserved for those who never stumble. It's for the bruised, the burdened, the broken. If your soul is heavy with regret, this refuge is yours. Pope Leo XIV once wrote, God's mercy rushes to the honest heart, faster than shame can retreat. So be honest. Tell the truth you've been holding inside. Not for God's sake, He already knows, for yours. Because confession isn't about exposing your flaws. It's about embracing the healing you've been too afraid to receive. What you're carrying is already in His hands, and His hands are not clenched in anger. They are open in love. You've spent so many nights blaming yourself for being human, holding yourself hostage to expectations God never placed on you. But your soul is not meant to be bruised by your own criticism. Lisa Vivere reminds us we must stop wounding ourselves with the words we would never speak to someone else. You'd offer grace to a friend. You'd comfort someone you love. Why wouldn't God do the same for you? Psalm 23 doesn't promise you won't walk through the valley. It promises you won't walk it alone. He is with you, through every anxious thought, through every tear you didn't let fall, through the heartache of wanting to be better. He's not just watching from afar. He's walking beside you. Tonight, bedtime prayer isn't a ritual to earn peace. It's a place to receive it. You are not your shame. You are God's beloved. And the healing you've longed for doesn't begin tomorrow. It begins right now. This is your moment to learn a new rhythm. Not the anxious pacing of self-condemnation, but the slow, sacred hush of grace. Grace that doesn't recoil from your flaws. Grace that walks into your darkest moment and declares, "Still you are mine." Romans 8:28 isn't reserved for your good days. It applies in the moments you least feel worthy of it. Even now, God is working behind the curtain of your confusion, threading purpose through pain. D.D. Jakes said, God does His best work in the dark. And beloved, He hasn't abandoned you. He's remaking you, not into someone new, but into someone whole. Let this meditation be your meeting place. Let prayer be the pause where your soul is not required to perform, only to rest. You are not under judgment, you are under grace. You are not being chased by shame, you are being pursued by love. This is not a night of proving, it's a night of peace. Before your head touches the pillow, ask your soul, what weight am I still carrying that God already bore? What lie have I believed about what it takes to be loved? What would shift if I truly embraced mercy, not as a lifeline, but as my identity? And then speak this softly into the quiet. I am no longer defined by guilt. I am cradled in grace. I am not exiled by my mistakes. I am sheltered by His promise. I am not stuck. I am safe. His word covers me. His Spirit steadies me. His mercy enfolds me. If this prayer touched a tender place, leave a word of peace for someone else. Let your honesty ripple outward. Let it light the path for another soul searching for rest. And as your breathing slows, know this deep in your bones. Tonight is not your undoing, it is your restoration. You are free, you are loved. Sleep now, held in mercy. You've done all you can to make it right. You've apologized, wept, and replayed every detail in your mind, searching for some way to erase the sting. But what if peace doesn't come from effort? What if it comes from release? From the sacred act of handing it all to God? Psalm 91 doesn't say, "He who performs will be protected." It says, "He will cover you with His feathers, and under His wings you will find refuge." That's not poetic sentiment. That's divine certainty. The shadow that guilt casts may feel endless, but it has no claim where God's wings extend. Pope Leo XIV once wrote, "God is not counting your failures, He is covering them." Let that truth lift the weight. You don't have to earn your way back to grace. You never lost it. Grace has been near all along, closer than your shame, stronger than, and tonight it's whispering, "Come rest here." Shame often wears the mask of humility, but humility isn't belittling yourself. It's embracing the truth of how deeply loved you are. Lisa Bevere says, humility isn't thinking less of yourself. It's thinking of yourself rightly, loved, chosen, and covered. Tonight is not another night for rehearsing self-critique. It's your opportunity to remember who you truly are. Psalm 23 doesn't say He criticizes from a distance. It says He, even through today's missteps, even through your stumbles, His leadership never wavers. He saw your heart, not just your outcome, and He stayed. He didn't flinch. This night prayer is for the ones still aching, not because they failed, but because they feel. And feeling is sacred. Your tears are not proof of weakness. They're proof you still care. And God, the shepherd of your soul, walks through this valley with you, not behind you in judgment, but beside you in love. He's restoring you right now, in real time. That ache you carry isn't evidence of failure. It's the sound of your soul yearning for the one who never left. That longing is not your downfall, it's your invitation. D.D. Jakes once said, "God does not waste your longing, He uses it to lead you home." That's what tonight is, a return, not to who you were in your mistake, but to who you are in His mercy. Isaiah 41:10 declares, "Do not fear, for I am with you." That's not a hope, it's a promise, present, active, now. God isn't waiting for your clarity, He's with you in your confusion. He's not waiting for your strength, He's present in your vulnerability. This is where redemption begins, not in your best performance, but in your most honest moment. Let this night be a turning point, the point where shame is silenced and the shepherd's whisper becomes your lullaby. I am here. I am enough. You are mine. Let this night be a sanctuary where these questions meet your spirit. Where have I mistaken my pain for punishment? What is God trying to revive that I've buried in guilt? How would I sleep if I truly trusted that He's still leading me? Speak these truths aloud to your heart. I am not defined by what I did wrong. I am defined by the one who is making it right. I am not too far gone. I am being gently brought back. I am not unloved. I am chosen. I release every accusation. I receive every promise. I am surrounded. I am seen. I am safe. If this prayer met you in the dark, let it shine for someone else. Share it. Bless someone searching for sleep and finding only sorrow. Let your healing become someone else's invitation. And as your body settles and your breath softens, may your soul remember, God is not ashamed of you. He is sheltering you. Sleep now, covered in grace. You may have spent the whole day trying to hold it together, appearing calm, composed, even joyful on the outside. But now, as the noise of the world quiets and the distractions fade, the truth begins to rise. You're not just tired in body, you're tired in spirit. You've been performing strength when what you've needed most is softness. Psalm 91 doesn't require you to be invincible. It simply offers you refuge. Under his wings you will find refuge. This is not an invitation for the perfect. It's a resting place for the weary. For you. Pope Leo XIII once wrote, "The soul at the end of itself is the soul closest to heaven." Maybe that's where you find yourself tonight, spent, uncertain, running on empty. But that's exactly where grace begins, not where strength ends, but where surrender opens the door. This is not your breaking. This is your becoming. God's message tonight is not condemnation, it's comfort. The thoughts that swirl, "How could I mess up again?" or "Why am I like this?" aren't just familiar, they're false. Lisa Bevere puts it clearly. Shame is a liar with a long memory and no compassion. Shame will always rehearse your flaws, but the shepherd restores your soul. Psalm 23 isn't a psalm of guilt, it's a psalm of gentleness. He restores my soul, it says, not because you finally got it all right, but because that's what love does. Real restoration doesn't shout or shame, it kneels. It gathers every frayed edge and sews it back together with care. And that's what's happening tonight. Not a spiritual performance, a holy homecoming. This bedtime prayer isn't where God demands explanations, it's where he pours out mercy. You don't have to wait until you've fixed yourself to rest. You're allowed to rest while you're still in process, because your shepherd walks with you even in the unfinished. Romans 8:28 doesn't work only when life is neat. It was written for messes. It breathes life into moments like these, when you're sorting through emotions you don't fully understand, when guilt still sits heavy, when words you said or didn't say replay on a loop. All things work together for good, even this day, even your silence, even the moments you wish you could erase. D.D. Jakes says, God's greatest miracles often begin with our deepest regrets. That ache you carry isn't proof you're far from God. It's proof that you still care, that your soul is reaching for home, and God doesn't despise that reach. He answers it. You don't have to earn your sleep tonight. You're not being watched to see if you've learned your lesson. You're being held right now by a love that is both shelter and song. This is where mercy takes over. This is where rest begins. So as this day closes, slow your breath and listen to your heart. What guilt have you carried too long? What shame is God ready to replace with compassion? What if rest isn't a reward for fixing it all, but a gift that teaches you you're already loved? Speak this over your soul tonight. I am not my failure. I am God's. I am not beyond grace. I'm resting in it. I am not defined by shame. I am marked by mercy. Psalm 91 wraps around me. Psalm 23 walks beside me. Isaiah 41:10 lifts me. If this prayer brought light to your night, let it become light for someone else. Share it, speak kindness, leave a word of peace in the comments for someone who may not know how to pray yet. And now, as you close your eyes, remember, this night is not empty, it's holy. You're not alone. You are surrounded by the presence of the God who restores. Sleep now. You are safe, you are loved, you are home. You've come to the end of another day, and maybe all you feel is the weight of what went wrong, the words you regret, The silence that lasted too long, the fear that kept you small, and now, as your body slows, your heart speeds up, trying to outrun shame but never quite escaping it. But tonight, God's message is not run faster, it's come closer. Psalm 91 says he will cover you with his feathers, and under his wings you will find refuge. You don't need to earn your way under those wings, you just need to fall into them. Pope Leo the Catholic once said, "The ones most desperate for love are the ones most held by it." If that's you tonight, desperate, exhausted, unsure, you are the very one God wants to comfort. Not tomorrow, not when you're stronger, but now. Right here, in the middle of the mess, there's something sacred about admitting, "I don't know how to let go." That honesty isn't weakness, it's the starting point of healing. Lisa Bevere says God doesn't shame your struggle, he meets you in it. That means your confusion is not an obstacle to him, it's a doorway. Tonight, open that door. Even if your prayer is clumsy, even if your heart feels numb, even if your tears dried up long before your regret did. Psalm 23 promises, "Surely goodness and mercy will follow me all the days of my life." That includes the days you'd rather forget, the nights you feel like a failure. God's goodness isn't tied to your performance, it's tethered to his nature. This night prayer is not a performance review, it's a rescue. It's God reaching into your restlessness and saying, "I know, and I'm still here. Let that be enough for now. Let that be your peace." Romans 8:28 is still active even when your emotions feel dormant. God doesn't need your certainty to begin restoration. He just needs your yes, your willingness to hand over what you can't carry anymore. That moment you keep replaying, the one that makes your stomach twist and your heart sink, it's not more powerful than the blood of Christ. D.D. Jakes reminds us, "Grace will meet you where you fall and lift you without shame." So let grace do its work tonight, not in theory, but in your bones. Let it sink into your breath. Let it replace the lies you've told yourself. Let it hold you long enough for your shoulders to drop and your heartbeat to slow. Night prayer is not a ritual, it's a rebirth. You're not closing a chapter tonight, you're being rewritten. And the author of this story never gives up on his characters. Ask yourself in this silence, what shame have I accepted as truth? What would it look like to believe mercy is stronger than memory? What healing could begin if I stopped punishing myself? Speak this over your soul. I am not the worst of my past. I am the work of his love. I am not chained to shame. I am claimed by mercy. I am not alone in this night. I am cradled by grace. Psalm 91 is my shelter. Psalm 91 is my shelter. Psalm 23 is my rhythm. God's message tonight is my healing. If this prayer gave your heart a home, bless someone else with it. Share the mercy. Comment your release. And now, as your eyes begin to close, know this: you are not sleeping in shame. You are sleeping in the arms of the one who never left. Let go. You are forgiven. You are safe. You are his. You've apologized to others. You've whispered forgiveness into the air, hoping it would land somewhere that matters. But the hardest one to forgive is still yourself. And now, with the lights low and the noise of the day fading, that silent struggle rises to the surface again. Your body lies still, but your soul feels frantic. What if tonight God isn't asking you to say all the right things or do anything extraordinary? What if he's just inviting you to be still and let him be enough? Psalm 91 speaks softly to your tired heart. He will cover you with his feathers. That's not just protection, it's presence, it's nearness. It's the kind of love that sees every tear, every mistake, every ache you've kept hidden, and chooses not to leave. Pope Leo XIV once said, "There is no shame so dark that light cannot find it when love kneels low." And love has knelt low for you tonight. Maybe tonight you feel like you've failed everyone, even God. That thought hits harder than anything anyone else could say. But here's the truth: failure is not the final word. In the kingdom of God, It's the ground where renewal begins. Psalm 23 says, "He leads me beside still waters." Still waters don't rush, they don't demand. They invite you to breathe, to exhale what you've been holding in, to stop trying to undo the past and start trusting the one who walks with you through it. Lisa Bevere reminds us, God isn't just interested in your survival, He wants your restoration. That includes your right to rest, to lie down tonight without needing to perform repentance, to let yourself be sad without thinking it disqualifies you from grace. This night prayer is not a test. It's a healing space. Let mercy wrap around you like a soft blanket and whisper, "You are safe here." You've replayed that one moment so many times, what you said, what you didn't say, what you wish you could rewind. But God isn't replaying it, He's rewriting it. Isaiah 43 speaks straight into the places you're afraid to look. Forget the former things, do not dwell on the past. See, I am doing a new thing. This is not motivational fluff, it's divine reality. T.D. Jakes says if you can't undo it, let God redeem it. You don't have to create the miracle. You just have to make space for it. Romans 8:28 is not just a verse, it's a promise that even your regrets are being woven into restoration. Even the things you wish never happened are not wasted. God is already working, quietly, tenderly, effectively. Let that be enough to slow your breath tonight. You're not sleeping under the weight of guilt, you're laying down in the arms of grace. Ask yourself this with gentle honesty. What if God has already moved past what I'm still punishing myself for? What if healing begins not with my perfection, but with my permission? What if tonight is not the continuation of guilt, but the beginning of release? Say this softly over your soul. I am not bound by yesterday. I am born again in mercy. I am not defined by what broke me. I am redeemed by who holds me. I am not wandering, I am led. Psalm 91 cradles me. Psalm 23 soothes me. God's word secures me. If this prayer stirred something sacred in you, pass it on. Share it. Let your freedom bless someone else's silence. Leave a comment of kindness. And now, as your body finally surrenders to sleep, let your spirit do the same. You are not forgotten. You are not forsaken. You are carried. Sleep now, beneath the wings of the Almighty. You may be lying in bed tonight feeling like the day was wasted, the mistake you made, the tone you used, the opportunity you missed. The shame wraps itself around you like a fog, convincing you that your worth has diminished. But God's message is not based on your performance. It's rooted in His promise. Psalm 91 says, His faithfulness is your shield, not your success, not your strength, and His faithfulness. That means you can stop the cycle of self-condemnation. Pope Leo XIV reminds us, God's grace doesn't run on a clock. It meets us in the dark. And here, in this quiet, in this breath, grace is meeting you, not to lecture you, but to lift you. This night is not a sentence, it's a sanctuary. You're not being punished by restlessness, you're being pursued by love. There's a tenderness that enters when we finally stop pretending we're okay. Lisa Bevere once said, the strongest prayers come from the most broken places. And maybe tonight your prayer doesn't have eloquence. Maybe it's just a sigh, a whisper, a single tear. That's enough. Because prayer is not a performance, it's a presence. And the presence of God is already here. Psalm 23 says, He leads me in paths of righteousness for His name's sake, not for your reputation, for His name. That means even when you feel like you've failed, you're still being led. Even when you feel lost, you're not alone. This bedtime prayer is your anchor. Let your soul unclench. Let your breath deepen. You're not who shame says you are. You are who God says you are. Beloved, covered, restored. The ache inside doesn't make you unworthy of sleep. It makes you human. And God is not afraid of your humanity. He knit it into your being. Romans 8:28 isn't a verse for perfect lives. It's a promise for broken ones. All things work together for good. That includes the thing you still haven't forgiven yourself for. That includes the moment that makes you wince. That includes the silence that speaks louder than words. E.D. Jakes says, "There is nothing so shattered that God cannot rebuild." And tonight, he begins not with action, but with rest, with silence, with safety. That's what this night prayer is. Not a report card, but a rescue. You're not being judged. You're being drawn into grace, drawn into the steady, unwavering love that never left you. Ask yourself now, what weight am I carrying that mercy already lifted? What would change if I believed God wasn't disappointed in me? How would I sleep if I trusted that grace had already covered the day? Breathe this truth into your soul. I am not a failure. I am forgiven. I am not abandoned. I am anchored in love. I am not hopeless. I am held. Psalm 91 protects me. Psalm 23 calms me. God's message tonight rewrites my fear into faith. If this prayer gave your heart room to breathe, pass that breath along. Leave a comment of peace. Share this word of mercy. And as you drift into rest, know that you are not falling into forgetfulness. You are falling into the faithfulness of a God who never sleeps. Let go now. Sleep in peace. Wake in grace. You are safe. You are His. You've been replaying the same scene in your mind, haven't you? The moment you wish you could erase, the words you regret, the silence that felt like failure. And now, as night wraps around you, so does the ache. But friend, God's love is not waiting for you to clean it up. It's waiting for you to hand it over. Psalm 91 says you will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. That's not a poetic idea, that's a divine reality, right now, in this exact moment. Pope Leo XIV wrote, "True rest does not come from resolution, but from surrender." You don't have to make it right before you sleep. You just have to let go. Not because you're giving up, but because you're giving it to God. And He is not overwhelmed by your mess. He is present in it. That's the beginning of real peace. You've been trying to be strong for too long. Strong for your family, strong for your friends, strong for yourself. But strength without softness becomes armor that keeps even God out. Lisa Biver reminds us, God doesn't need your strength. He needs your surrender. Psalm 23 offers that surrender in the simplest of lines. He makes me lie down. Makes me, not asks, not suggests, makes. Because He knows what we need even when we resist it. Stillness is sacred, rest is holy, and even your sleeplessness can become a sanctuary when you stop striving and start receiving. Tonight, let bedtime prayer become your safe place. Let the regret fade in the presence of the Redeemer. Let the meditation slow your heartbeat. Let grace become the rhythm you breathe. You are not abandoned. You are being drawn back into love. Sometimes the loudest voice in the night is the one that says, "You'll never change." But God's voice speaks louder still. "Behold, I am doing a new thing." That's Isaiah 43. That's His promise, not to people who've figured it all out, but to those who are still failing forward. Romans 8:28 doesn't need you to succeed. It just needs you to stay open. God is working, even through what you regret, even through what you hide. T.D. Jakes once said, "Your wound is not a disqualification. It's a doorway. Tonight, walk through that doorway, into mercy, into rest, into the truth that you are not what happened. You are who God is healing. This night prayer is your reset. This breath is your blessing. You are not disqualified. You are desired, and that changes everything. As you close your eyes, ask yourself gently, what am I still punishing myself for that God has already forgiven? What would it feel like to be fully loved even in the middle of my mess? How can I let peace become the language of my soul tonight? Whisper this truth over your spirit. I am not broken beyond repair. I am being restored by grace. I am not my mistake. I am God's masterpiece in process. I am not alone. I am surrounded by mercy. Psalm 91 shields me. Psalm 23 leads me. God's message carries me. If this prayer met your heart in its quiet ache, pass the peace to someone else. Leave a comment of grace, share the comfort, and now sink into sleep, not with shame, but with surrender. You are not who you were this morning. You are who God is holding now. Sleep, beloved. You are safe. You are seen. You are His. There comes a point when the weight of guilt feels like it has embedded itself into your identity, as if who you are has become inseparable from what you've done. But God never confuses your sin with your soul. He separates the two with grace. Psalm 91 doesn't speak to your perfection, it speaks to your position. He will cover you with His feathers. That means even now, even with the heaviness you are carrying, you are covered, not exposed, not rejected, covered. Pope Leo XIV once said, "Mercy is God's way of restoring what shame tried to rename." You are not shameful, you are not unworthy, you are not beyond healing. You are His, and His arms tonight are not crossed. They're extended. Rest isn't a reward for the righteous, it's a gift for the broken. So receive it, right now, without fixing one more thing, without explaining a single moment. Just behold, maybe you're still whispering the same prayer you've whispered for weeks. God, I'm sorry. And His response hasn't changed either. I love you. Lisa Bevere once said, God's mercy isn't on a timer. It doesn't run out when your patience does. That means even if you're asking again, for the 100th time, He's answering again with the same tenderness. He doesn't tire of your return. He delights in it. Psalm 23 promises, surely goodness and mercy will follow me all the days of my life, all the days. Even this one, even the one you want to forget, even the one that aches as you lay in silence. Bedtime prayer isn't just a ritual. It's your place of resurrection, the place where your soul begins to breathe again, where the lies loosen their grip, where the truth, the holy truth, settles in. You are forgiven, you are free, you are found. You might be wondering why it still hurts if you've already been forgiven. The truth is, forgiveness doesn't erase the emotion, it rewrites the story. Romans 8:28 promises that God is working all things together for good. That includes this ache, that includes this apology, that includes the fact that you're still hurting even though you've repented. T.D. Jakes says, the pain doesn't mean God left. Sometimes it means He's still healing. Let Him finish what He started. Don't rush to feel better. Let mercy meet you where it hurts. Let grace run its course. You're not being punished by this pain. You're being purified through it. And tonight, that process doesn't require your understanding, just your trust. Let your breath slow. Let your thoughts quiet. Let the night become sacred again. You are not at war with yourself. You are at peace with the one who made you. Reflect now in the hush. What lie has taken root in my heart that God never spoke? What would it mean to let mercy lead instead of guilt? How can I practice believing that I am already loved? Declare this softly over your heart. I am not a disappointment. I am a vessel of mercy. I am not dwelling in shame. I am resting in safety. I am not unsure of my worth. I am chosen, cradled, and carried by grace. Psalm 91 is my shelter. Psalm 23 is my rhythm. God's message tonight is not condemnation, it's compassion. If this prayer helped your soul exhale, offer that peace to someone else. Share the comfort. Leave a word in the comments for another weary heart. And now, lay down your fear. Lay down your penance. Lay down your performance. You are not what you've done. You are who He's holding, and He's not letting go. Sleep now, you're home. You've reached the end of a day that may have felt like too much and not enough all at once. Too many mistakes, not enough grace. Too much pressure, not enough peace. But none of that disqualifies you from being loved tonight. None of it blocks God's mercy from flowing toward you like water to the lowest place. Psalm 91 doesn't say, "He will cover those who get it right." It says, "He will cover you, period." That includes your shame, your self-doubt, your silence. Pope Leo XIV said, "The night does not erase your dignity. It reveals the depth of God's tenderness, and that tenderness is reaching for you now, not with expectation, but with embrace." This is your moment to be known and not judged, seen and not shamed, covered and not condemned. You are safe here. It's okay if your heart still feels tangled. It's okay if the weight of today hasn't lifted yet. Lisa Bevere teaches peace is not the absence of noise, it's the presence of someone greater than the storm. That presence is with you now. You don't need to unravel everything before you sleep. You just need to say yes to rest. Psalm 23 invites you to that rest. He makes me lie down. You don't need to earn stillness. It is your birthright as His beloved. This night prayer isn't your penance, it's your peace. It's the place where you bring the fragments of your soul and lay them into the hands that know exactly how to mend them. Let the meditation tonight be less about saying the right thing and more about letting yourself be loved in the silence. Even now, especially now, while the ache still lingers, while the questions still echo, you are held. Sometimes the hardest person to believe grace for is yourself. You believe it for your friends, for your family, even for strangers. But when it comes to your own failures, grace feels like a foreign language. Romans 8:28 reminds us that God is working all things, yes, even your self-condemnation, into good. That good may not be immediate resolution. It may be quiet transformation. T.D. Jakes says God will use what hurt you to build what heals others. Maybe your regret becomes someone else's redemption. Maybe your brokenness becomes the bridge for another's hope. But first, let it become your own. Let this night be the turning point, not because everything is fixed, but because your heart is finally open to mercy, to love, to the truth that what God says about you is louder than what you've said to yourself. Pause now and ask gently, what would it look like to rest as if I truly believed I am loved? What parts of me still resist being forgiven? What could be different tomorrow if I let grace end today? Say this over your soul. I am not forgotten. I am chosen. I am not abandoned. I am protected. I am not unworthy. I am wrapped in mercy. Psalm 91 sings over me. Psalm 23 stills me. God's message tonight isn't correction. If this prayer touched a sore place in you, let it become healing for someone else. Write a word of grace in the comments. Pass the peace. Let this bedtime prayer be a shelter for many. And now, let go of what you thought disqualified you. Mercy has made its case. Love has claimed you. The night is holy, and you are held. Sleep now, not as a sinner condemned, but as a soul redeemed. You're still wondering if it's okay to rest, aren't you? After the things you said, after the way you felt, after the thoughts that spiraled. But rest isn't a reward for righteousness. It's a necessity for healing. Psalm 91 invites you into that sacred space. Whoever dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. Not perform, not strive, rest. Pope Leo XIV once wrote, "Sleep becomes holy when sorrow meets surrender." You don't have to pretend tonight. You don't have to justify the weight you carry. You only need to be honest with the God who already sees and still stays. There's nothing you can confess that will send Him away. There's no wound too messy, no regret too deep. He's already drawing near. Let Him. You may think the pain you feel disqualifies you from peace, but the truth is your pain is the very place where peace longs to live. Lisa Bevere says, you can't find healing by hiding what hurts. So tonight, uncover it. Not for everyone, just for Him. Uncover the fear you've been masking with control, the guilt you've wrapped in perfectionism, The sadness you've dressed up as strength. Psalm 23 says, "He restores my soul, not when you're polished, when you're present." Restoration isn't neat, it's messy. It happens in the quiet, in the middle of the questions, in the middle of the night. Right now. You don't need to pray fancy prayers. Just breathe. Just whisper his name. That's enough. That's always been enough. Maybe you're still carrying the belief that if you feel this broken, you must be far from God. But brokenness isn't distance, it's direction. It leads you closer. Romans 8:28 assures you that God is working even this moment for good. That includes the part of you still aching, the part that's still stuck, the part you're still ashamed to bring into the light. T.D. Jakes says, "What you hide in shame, God heals in grace." And grace is here, right now. It's not a concept, it's a person. Jesus is grace, and he is near. You don't have to figure it out before you fall asleep. You just need to know that you're not alone in your thoughts. The God who never sleeps is surrounding you, holding you, loving you, not in spite of your sorrow, but right through it. Ask yourself as you settle into the silence, what have I refused to release that's been robbing me of rest? What would it look like to sleep like someone truly forgiven? How would I rise tomorrow if I knew I was already enough? Say this aloud or in your heart. I am not rejected, I am received. I am not disqualified, I am desired. I am not alone, I am wrapped in divine protection. Psalm 91 holds me. Psalm 23 restores me. God's message tonight is not condemnation, it's comfort. If this prayer found you in your hidden pain, let it find someone else too. Share it. Leave a comment of truth. Be a lighthouse for another soul in the storm. And now, beloved, close your eyes. You've carried enough. It's God's turn now. You are safe. You are seen. You are his. Sleep in peace. You've done everything you could today, and still you lie here feeling like it wasn't enough, that you weren't enough. The enemy loves to take exhaustion and dress it up as failure, but God sees differently. He sees effort in your silence, love in your tears, strength in your surrender. Psalm 91 declares, "He is my refuge and my fortress, my God in whom I trust." And trust tonight looks like letting go of the weight you were never meant to carry. Pope Leo XIV once said, "God does not require perfection from the weary, only presence. Your presence here now, in this sacred night, is more than enough." He's not counting your faults, he's catching your breath. And even now, he's wrapping you in mercy so wide, you cannot out-sin it, outrun it, or out-grieve it. You are completely covered. The hardest nights often come not from what happened, but from what we didn't do, what we missed, what we avoided, what we wish we'd handled better. And yet, Lisa Bevere says, regret is only redeemed when it's surrendered. You don't need to fix the story tonight. You just need to stop fighting it alone. Psalm 23 says, "Your rod and your staff, they comfort me." God is not disappointed in your emotions. He's using them to draw you closer. That gnawing sadness, that whisper of shame, that heaviness in your chest, they are not signs that God has left you. They are signs that your soul is longing for him, and he is here. Not to condemn you, but to comfort. Not to scold, but to soothe. You are not being punished. You are being pursued. Rest is not your reward for getting it right. It's the space God creates to remind you that you are already loved. You've prayed before and didn't feel different. You've asked for peace and still tossed in your bed. You've said, "I'm sorry," more times than you can count. But God isn't counting. He's comforting. Romans 8:28 is still true in the silence. Even when your prayer feels empty, even when your heart feels numb, even when your sleep is thin and your thoughts are loud, he is working. T.D. Jakes says, "God doesn't waste your weariness, he fills it." And that's what he's doing now. You may not feel it, but heaven is empowered by your feelings. It's powered by His faithfulness, and that faithfulness is holding you now. Not asking for one more thing, just offering this rest, real rest, soul rest. Peace that doesn't need a reason. Peace that just is, because He is. So ask yourself now, what am I still trying to earn that God already gave? What weight can I lay down that mercy is ready to lift? What does it mean to be loved when I have nothing left to give? Declare this softly as your heart begins to slow. I am not defined by what I missed. I am chosen for what God is redeeming. I am not too much. I am exactly the one God wants to love. I am not alone in this night. I am hidden in the shadow of the Almighty. Psalm 91 covers me. Psalm 23 calms me. God's message tonight is not about correction. It's about connection. If this prayer steadied your soul, let it steady someone else's. Leave a word of mercy in the comments. Share this light in the dark. And now lay your head down in peace. You don't need to finish the day strong. You only need to finish it surrendered. You are held. You are His. Sleep now, beloved. There's a sacred silence that enters at the end of a long day. Not the silence of absence, but the silence of God drawing near. You've said enough. You've cried enough. You've thought it through more times than you care to admit. And now, you don't need more answers. You need presence. Psalm 91 speaks of that presence. He will command His angels concerning you to guard you in all your ways, even this one, even the way of shame, even the path of regret. Pope Leo XIV wrote, "The end of the day is not the end of hope. It is the soft beginning of grace. That grace is here. It doesn't knock loudly. It doesn't demand your attention. It simply waits, patient, gentle, holy, and ready to hold you until the voices in your head grow quiet, and all that remains is the truth. You are loved. You've been asking, when will I stop feeling like this? But healing doesn't happen in a moment. It happens in every moment you choose not to run from the pain. Lisa Bevere says, healing begins when we stop resisting the tenderness of God. So stop resisting. Stop rehearsing the hurt. Stop believing you have to carry it alone. Psalm 23 ends with a promise. Surely goodness and mercy will follow me all the days of my life, not just the good days, all the days, even this one, even the one filled with second-guessing, missed chances, and emotional exhaustion. Mercy is still following you, still wrapping you in invisible arms, still preparing a table in the presence of your fear. You don't need to find your way back to God tonight because you never left His sight. This night prayer is not a way home. It is the reminder that you're already there. Maybe you've whispered prayers into the dark, wondering if anyone heard. Maybe you've laid your shame at God's feet, only to pick it back up the next morning. But Romans 8:28 still sings, all things work together for good. That includes the repetition, the wrestling, the rawness. T.D. Jakes says God does not need you to be composed. He needs you to be close, and you are. Right now, in this breath, close enough for Him to whisper peace over your anxious heart, close enough for mercy to soak into your soul like water into dry ground. You are not stuck. You are being sanctified. You are not a burden. You are a beloved work in progress, and the one who began a good work in you will finish it. That includes tonight's ache. That includes tomorrow's beginning. You are safe in the in-between. So now, as the night deepens, ask yourself, what part of me is still afraid that grace won't hold? What do I need to release so sleep can become sacred again? What truth do I need to repeat until it becomes a lullaby to my soul? Speak this with gentleness and trust. I am not disqualified. I am dearly loved. I am not too broken. I am in the hands of the healer. I am not forgotten. I am hidden in the shelter of the Most High. Psalm 91 is my shield. Psalm 23 is my story. God's message tonight is not judgment. It is joy. If this night prayer gave you peace, share that peace. Write a word of hope for someone else. Bless the night with honesty. Let this sacred space become a sanctuary for others too. And now, beloved, sleep. Not in shame, not in fear. Sleep in the presence of the one who sings over you. Sleep in love. Sleep in God.